Clara Hayes owned Moonlight Tarot, a little shop tucked between a coffee house and an antique bookstore in downtown Portland, Oregon. The place always smelled of sage and old paper, the kind of shop people stumbled into when they needed hope more than answers. Most clients asked predictable questions about jobs, money, or heartbreaks. Clara had grown used to the rhythm of their lives passing through her cards. But the man who stepped in one rainy evening shattered that routine. He was tall, broad-shouldered, maybe early 30s, with eyes that seemed to weigh every detail in the room. His coat was damp, his voice low. "I want a reading," he said. "About love." Clara nodded, shuffling the cards. When she laid them out, her breath caught. The lover's card, upright. The tower, inverted. The combination pulsed with heat, warning and promise tangled together. "What does it mean?" he asked, leaning forward. Her fingers trembled against the table. "It means love is near, but it comes with upheaval. Something must fall apart before it can begin." The man's expression shifted, almost like he'd been expecting her words. He stood, placed cash on the table, and walked toward the door. Before leaving, he paused, his gaze locking with hers. "Sometimes destruction is necessary." Clara sat frozen long after the door shut, her heart pounding. That night, she dreamed of him, his face, his voice, his hand brushing hers. In the dream, the tower card burned. When she woke, it lay on her nightstand, but she hadn't brought the deck home. Clara stared at the card resting on her nightstand. She swore she'd left the deck locked in her shop drawer. Her breath quickened. Logic told her she must have absent-mindedly slipped it into her bag. But deep down, something whispered otherwise. The next morning, she returned to Moonlight Tarot. The drawer was closed. When she unlocked it, her heart skipped. The tower card was inside, another one perfectly in place. She touched the card at home again that night, tracing its jagged image of crumbling stone. The stranger's words echoed, "Sometimes destruction is necessary." A soft knock startled her. She peeked through the window. He stood there, rain dripping from his hair, eyes fixed on her. Clara opened the door halfway. How do you know where I live?" His lips twitched. "Small city, wasn't hard. I didn't mean to scare you, but I need another reading." Against her better judgment, she let him in. He smelled of cedar and rain. They sat at her kitchen table as she spread the cards. Again, the lovers appeared. Again, the tower. "Why do these keep showing up for you?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He leaned closer, his gaze piercing hers. "Maybe they're not about me." "Then who?" "You." Clara's pulse thundered. Something in his tone felt both dangerous and intimate, like a confession. Before she could respond, the lights flickered, and every candle in her apartment blew out at once. The apartment sank into blackness, the only sound the rain against the windows. Clara's breath caught in her throat. She fumbled for a lighter, but Elias's hand closed gently over hers. "Don't," he whispered. "It isn't the dark you should fear." His calm unsettled her more than the sudden blackout. The silence thickened, pressing against her chest. Then, just at the edge of her vision, she thought she saw movement. A tall, shifting figure lingered in the corner of the room, darker than the shadows themselves. Clara blinked, and it was gone. The lights flickered back to life with a sharp buzz. Her pulse still pounded when she looked at Elias. His expression was hard, guarded, as though he'd seen it too. "You need to tell me what's happening," she demanded, her voice trembling. Instead of answering, he picked up the lover's card from the table, holding it between them like proof. "Not everything the cards show is metaphor. Sometimes they warn. Sometimes they bind." Her stomach tightened. "Bind who?" He leaned closer, his voice low, threaded with something unspoken. "Us." For a moment, the world narrowed to the space between them, her heart hammering at the dangerous intimacy in his tone. She wanted to step back, yet every part of her leaned in. When their eyes locked, Clara knew. Whatever this was, it had already begun. The next morning, Clara tried to shake off the memory of last night's blackout. She lit sage, opened the shop early, and forced a smile for customers. But every shuffle of her cards felt heavier, every draw edged with unease. That evening, as she locked the shop door, something slipped free of the frame and fluttered to the sidewalk. Tarot card. The tower again, but this one was charred at the edges, as if it had been pulled from fire. Clara's hands trembled. She scanned the street, heart racing. No one lingered, except a text flashing onto her phone from an unknown number. Riverside Park. Midnight. Come alone. Every instinct screamed to ignore it, but as midnight neared, curiosity pulled stronger than fear. She found herself walking along the misty riverbank, her coat wrapped tight. Elias stood beneath a lamppost, shadows stretching behind him. "You came," he said softly. "Why me?" Clara demanded. "Why these cards?" He stared at the water, jaw tense. "Because something is coming, and you're the only one who can stop it." Days blurred together. Each morning, Clara woke to find another tarot card on her nightstand. The Lovers, the Tower, the Moon, cards she hadn't touched. She confided in no one. Who would believe her? Yet Elias's words haunted her. "You're the only one who can stop it." One afternoon, she spotted him in the cafe across the street, seated near the window. He wasn't looking at her, but somehow she felt his presence like a thread pulling tight between them. Finally, she crossed over. "You can't keep appearing like this," she whispered. Elias's gaze was steady, unreadable. "I can't leave you alone. If I do, you'll be next." Next for what? Before he could answer, glass shattered. The cafe window cracked from the inside, though no one touched it. Customers screamed. In the chaos, Clara saw it again. The tall shadow, lingering behind Elias like a guardian or a predator. That night, Clara locked herself inside Moonlight Tarot. Sleep was impossible. Instead, she pulled out old journals where she'd recorded years of readings. Her eyes scanned scribbled notes, searching for patterns. One entry stopped her cold. A spread from years ago. The Lovers plus the Tower equals destructive union, faded but transformative. Next to it, she had scrawled in the margin, "If repeated, beware. It binds more than fate, it binds souls." Her breath hitched. She thought of Elias, of the way the cards clung to him, to them. The shop bell jingled suddenly. Her heart lurched. At this hour, Elias stepped inside, rain dripping from his jacket. His eyes softened when they found hers. "You shouldn't be here alone." Clara clutched the journal to her chest. "Tell me the truth. Who are you really?" He hesitated, then said quietly, "Someone who's been where you're headed. Someone who's already lost everything once." The air between them tightened, heavy with unspoken pain. And yet, beneath it, Clara felt something else, an invisible tether pulling her closer. For days, Elias stayed close, a silent shadow who somehow made Clara feel both safe and restless. She wanted answers, but what unsettled her more was the warmth blooming in her chest whenever his eyes lingered on hers. One evening, he asked for another reading. By candlelight, Clara spread the cards. Her hands shook when she saw the familiar pattern. The Lovers, the Tower, the Moon. "It's us," she whispered, barely able to breathe. "They're binding us together." Elias reached across the table, his fingertips brushing hers. "Maybe it's not binding. Maybe it's choosing." Clara's pulse thundered. Every reason to push him away warred with the pull to stay. His hand closed gently over hers, and for a heartbeat, nothing else existed. Then, the candles sputtered, one by one, until only darkness remained. The tall shadow loomed at the edge of the room, closer this time, almost reaching for them. Elias tightened his grip. "You see it too now." The shadow pressed closer, but Elias pulled Clara against him, his warmth steadying her trembling frame. "It's fed by fear," he whispered. "That's why it follows me, why it follows us." Clara buried her face against his chest, heart racing. "Then what do? We stop running." His hand cupped her cheek. tilting her gaze up to his. The cards don't just predict destruction. They promise something new can rise from it. Her breath caught as she realized what he meant. Their fate wasn't only ruin. It was transformation, together. When his lips met hers, it felt like the strike of lightning on the tower. Terrifying, unstoppable, but also illuminating. The shadow recoiled, retreating into the corners of the room as if scorched by their closeness. Clara clung to him, breathless. For the first time, the fear that had followed her since that rainy night loosened its grip. Whatever the cards had bound, it wasn't a curse. It was a secret love, fierce and fated. One that could destroy, yes, but also remake them both. And Clara knew she would no longer run from it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt tales of love, healing, and second chances. Your support means the world.